I recently heard someone tell me, Christian, I'm my own person. I could do whatever I want. No. If you're a Christian, you have been bought with the price. You are not your own. You are to be a living sacrifice, which is your reasonable service.
Amen.
You know, I got to thinking, what is a living sacrifice? A living sacrifice means that you're willing to put your life on the altar unto death if necessary, because this is not your home. You're a pilgrim passing through, and you've got an assignment to reach out and win the lost, and that is the most important thing you can do on this earth.
Amen, John.
So the day needs to come that we all humble ourselves and prepare for the Lord's return, because that is our purpose.
So good.
I know the volcanoes are coming, and I know that the meteors from something from the sky that's on fire is coming to the earth in the final days. I believe we're going to see some asteroids, and there's a lot of them have been very close lately. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
They say, oh, we didn't know that was coming, and this thing the size of a city block or something is up there in the sky. Yeah. But what does this sound like? Can I just throw this out? Sure. And let's study together. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star. And of course, I always tell you that word star means is aster, so where we get our word asteroid. But the fifth angel sounded, I saw an asteroid or a star. It's not a star as we know it, because if a star falls to earth, earth is not here anymore.
That's right, because stars are bigger than the planet Earth.
Yeah, stars are bigger than the earth. I've been telling you that for a long time, but yes. I don't know if anybody believes me. Just go study science then. The fifth angel sounded, and I saw a aster fallen, something from the heaven, falling from heaven to the earth. The asteroid was given the key to the bottomless pit. A volcano is a bottomless pit also. The devil's going to be perhaps in the earth. I don't know. That may be where hell is. I don't know for sure. But it sure is hot down in the center of the earth. The star was given to the key to the bottomless pit. He opened the bottomless pit, and smoke ascended from the pit. The smoke like a great furnace. If John was seeing this, would he describe the volcano as like a mighty furnace with smoke coming out? The sun and the air were darkened, and there's at least 9 times in the Bible that says the sun and the moon will go dark before the coming of the Lord. That's before. Joel, Acts even talks about it. So the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke from the pit. Well, I didn't want to go into my teaching, but I think this is perhaps a volcano. I believe with all my heart, part of the last days, the earthquakes, an earthquake will probably wake up the volcanic age. So all these things are coming. And one volcano, one amazing super volcano will literally turn us probably like into a third world, what it was before electricity and all these things will take place. And if Yellowstone National Park happens to go, the scientists tell us,
oh yeah,
it will devastate the world, but it will literally turn America into an uninhabitable
wasteland.
Lots of it will be uninhabitable. But it'll be, you talk about things that could shut down this country and really destroy. So all of these things, and there's these third angel sounds in a great star asteroid from heaven, burning like a torch, fell on a third of the rivers and the springs of the water. And the name of the star is Wormwood. This asteroids have been known to poison the waters. And so a third of the waters became wormwood, which was basically poison. And men died from the waters because they were made bitter or poison. So all these things that most people don't want to read. This is not good devotional stuff. You know, you say, I read this morning that an asteroid's going to hit the earth one day. Nobody wants to read it. I'm so concerned, and I've been getting warnings that what's coming is going to change things so much that there's not going to be time to get ready. There's not going to be time to go out and get stuff and to be prepared. But yet, he wants us to be ready. He wants us to be prepared. He said, I don't even want my coming to take you unaware. So he's not going to sneak up on us. To the unsaved, he says they absolutely won't know when I'm coming. But to you who are believers, he says, you're going to know.
Right.
So do you want to go into this next phase of this story?
The first thing Jesus said, that there would be false Christs. Well, this is something that we've been seeing for a long time. Then he said there'd be wars and rumors of wars. And he basically said, this is not it. And one of the things that I noticed is that he didn't say there wouldn't be wars. He said there would be wars and rumors of wars. And let me tell you, right now in Asia, the rumors of war are heating up.
Oh, I'm sure they
are. And I am hearing prophetic warnings from God's prophets saying that we could see war break out in Asia. And let me tell you, there is no way we can have a war in Asia without affecting America and the world in a very bad way.
That's right.
I mean, if there's something that we need to pray for, we need to pray down this threat of war. Jesus then lists 5 things, I've said this before, ending with great earthquakes. And everything is in play except for the great earthquakes, except, look what's been happening in the last 2 months. 2 great earthquakes in Mexico, 3 7.0s just a few days ago, and we're literally seeing earthquakes in the 6 mid-range every week. This is unprecedented. It says, then they will deliver you up to tribulation. You know, personally, I believe the days of sorrows and the birth pains are the pre-tribulation events. Before the Great Tribulation starts, we're going to see days of sorrows that will bring nations to their knees. It'll crash economies that will ripple around the world. It'll make so many governments collapse that when the Antichrist system offers a global solution, they'll be starving and begging for a solution, and the nations of the world will sign up to the global agenda. And I believe that's what birth pains and days of sorrows is all about. Because listen, after he says, these are the days of sorrows, the next verse says, then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake.
That's right.
This is where we're seeing the beginnings of this right now.
We really are.
The church, the cross, is hated in America.
That's right.
You know, if they kill our president or they destroy him or whatever, if we elect the other side, I mean, they've come out against God. They just said, we don't want God even in their platform. So this is it, John.
Listen,
I think maybe Trump is here to give us time to get ready, because all hell's going to break loose. And we're not going to have the Antichrist show up to get the sign of the mark of the beast on our forehead. It won't happen without hunger Hunger is going to be the main thing. You don't get it. Most people don't want to get it. But that's why I'm so obsessed with you all being prepared, because it has to have the element of famine, which is here all the time. There it is right there, verses 7 and 8. There will be famines. And and then the pestilence are happening right now. The scientists are warning us, but we're not listening.
Right.
Right now, the Black Plague and all these pestilences, they're here now and mutating. And then you got famines, pestilence, but
An earthquake.
you got to get this clearly.
Yeah.
There has to be a time of trouble such as never was, and no food to eat. And they're going to, you say, if you want food, there's not enough, so we're going to give it only to those who sign up with King.
Jim,
so whoever
I
he
say
is.
this real quick. That is the first time I really got this, Jim and John and everyone listening, is when you talk about the mark of the beast, and if you were born and raised in church, which most of us were, you hear about the mark of the beast, and you're just kind of like, oh no, I would never take that. Oh no, why would I ever? I would never take that. I mean, I love Jesus more.
Yeah.
I'm a Jesus lover and all that. But one day, Jim was teaching many years ago on Revelation, and he said the reason you'll take the mark of the beast is because you're hungry. Your children are hungry. Your grandchildren are hungry.
See if any of my grandchildren are backstage.
This is the reason you would take it. Maybe you'd let yourself starve to death, but you're not going to let your little children. You're not going to let the people you love dearly. I wouldn't let my mother starve to death. She's
can I hold her a minute?
She's asleep.
Okay.
Our baby,
Help me.
Kate. Oh, precious.
All right.
She's the sweetest one. She's so sweet.
This will be
precious.
your biggest reason to take the Antichrist mark.
That's right.
What will you do for your grandchildren? Can you see her?
Sweet baby.
This is Katie.
Jim, this is your biggest reason to prepare.
That's why I have so much food.
That's it.
What? Now listen. This is my newest grandbaby. I got another one about to be birthed. Hallelujah.
That's John's other one coming.
You got a girl coming this time.
Yeah, pretty soon.
And I'll tell you, he's got a little boy.
Oh, he's
your little boy.
Jackson.
Is he not the cutest little boy in the world?
Well, of course.
I mean, I would agree. Hands down.
And John's very modest about that. He means that.
I mean,
he's not like,
no, but I mean it.
He is so precious.
This boy, Jackson.
Wait till you see our Christmas
I wasn't sure about his name when they gave it to him, because Jackson is, I think it's a rock group or something.
Well, he thinks of Jackson Brown. That's why.
But I don't hate Jackson Brown. I don't hate anybody.
We love Jackson Brown.
But Jackson is so cute. He's so bright. He is amazing. He's a gift to God, to me, and John.
He certainly is.
You and your wife have beautiful children. I know your daughter. You got a daughter coming. How many more? In a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
January.
10.
10 more weeks.
10 or less.
And we got another one of these.
Of these. Okay, honey.
If you want specifics, you have to ask my wife.
Yeah.
I love. Is she beautiful? This is little Lori's newest baby.
Yes. And
now listen to me.
She is.
I hear them crying. I've heard them crying for years. And God said, what will we do? What will you do if these babies are starving?
Don't go away. We'll be right back after this special message.
Thank you, Pastor. I'm here today with Mark Augustin and his wife, Jennifer. I want to talk to you today about the complete grocery store going on today. This is our first round of versatility, variety, and the ability to keep normalcy, some kind of calmness in a household when all heck is breaking loose out in the world. So tell us a little bit about this one.
Absolutely, Jerry. What we have here is 98 number 10 cans. We have over 36 varieties worth of food. We have over almost 6,000 servings. There's about 5,840 servings in this kit. It contains grains, it contains proteins, vegetables, eggs, and dairy, as well as staples. It has entrees, breads, breakfast, as well as desserts in there. This kit has been designed so that you have basically a complete grocery store in your home. It's a conception of everything you need to make great meals like you see here on the table today. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the ones that everybody should have in their home. It's really the foundation and the building blocks of storing food. We've seen grocery store shelves completely empty. We've seen mad fights for food in lines where they're not getting food, and today we're experiencing many crises where we're seeing that food is non-negotiable. This kit here by Augustin Farms is provided to you guys on the Jim Baker Show as an exclusive offer today. And listen, there's limited quantities. We want to stress the urgency of getting an order placed and taking advantage of this $1,500 complete grocery store offer put together by me as well as Jennifer and the family at Augustin Farms with the Jim Baker Show in partnership. And listen, I brought my wife out here today because she is one of the main people who comes up with the development of some of these kits. And she really makes sure that every woman, every man has something in their kit that they're used to eating that they can make and eat at home. So Jennifer, why don't you tell us about some of your favorites?
Well, one of my favorites is the blueberry pancakes. It's really good. It's filling. It has a lot of flavor, and kids love it. I really love the mashed potatoes. I love the gravy, and you add a little bit of the beef stew or the vegetable stew. It's like a shepherd's pie, so it's really good. The oatmeal's really good, and it's hearty and great flavor as well.
Well, you know, Mark, just coming through and looking at the spread that we have and now the 98 cans and the bonus grinder behind us, I can smell this blueberry muffin.
Yes, blueberry muffins, one of the favorites. Just add water for these blueberry muffins.
And that's all it is, though, right? And all of them, just add water?
Everything you see here is just add water. So we do have creativeness. So I'm telling you, when you have a grocery store in your home, you guys can create meals that you're used to making at home.
Yes.
And the variety, listen, 36 varieties is unbelievable. The can kit allows you to be creative. Every single can has an exclusive recipe on it, so you will find the recipe on each can. The shelf life is up to 30 years on some of the products, as low as 20 to 15, but most of the shelf life is up to 30.
We've got classic brownie mix in here.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I know Mama Lori has talked several times about that comforting item. Tammy Sue just loves that, so on behalf of them, and I'm sure the other ladies out there, that they thank you for that, because you got to have something to kick back on and rely on when things are going crazy.
The creativeness is just unlimited, and the availability, of which we want to stress to you guys, there's a limited quantity of these kits. There's only so much available, so you need to act today. Act now. Please take advantage of this 98 number 10 can offer with 36 varieties, over 5,800 servings available in this complete grocery store offer. It's got a great price tag on it today for $1,500. Listen, you cannot go wrong with getting started with preparedness today by starting with this kit.
Call now, 1-888-988-1588 to order today's special offers. You can also write Jim at P.O. Box 7330, Branson, Missouri 65615. Or you can order this offer and many others online at jimbakershow.com. Thank you for your prayers and financial support. It's because of you we can continue to broadcast the gospel of Jesus Christ around the world.
You know, the older I get, the more I think, well, maybe someone will hear, but not many do. The food will be gone, according to the scriptures. Dave Wilkerson, a current day prophet who is in heaven, but he's a latter-day prophet, warning us about food. But it's filled, his books are filled with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So at this point right here, you can go on from here now. The famines, the pestilence, all these things, great earthquakes.
So I had just actually said that we will be delivered up to tribulation. They will kill you. They will be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And I was going to give you the thought that just 2 elections ago, the presidential candidates would cater to the Christian vote because they needed the Christian vote to win the elections. Well, this last election, that was the tipping point, you know what I mean, to where the election turned in the other direction. But as they say, we are no longer a Christian nation. I actually believe we are seeing the transition to the point to where they will no longer need the Christian vote to win the elections.
Oh, boy.
And that's a pretty scary thought. So here we go, further into the blow by blow. Many will be offended and will betray one another. Some Christians are saying, I don't need to prepare. I can just barter when things get tough. Well, if you can't buy or sell, who are you going to barter with? Somebody that's taken the mark? Well, do you want me to tell you something? When the day comes that you can't buy or sell, you will be an enemy of the state with the price on your head, and your neighbor will not love you anymore because they will be rewarded for turning you in. And what does this say in the blow-by-blow account by Jesus? Many will be offended, will betray one another. Don't count on bartering when you can no longer buy food because you haven't taken the mark of the beast. No, the time to get your food is now.
Yes.
This is the now time.
That's right, John.
John,
Yes.
this is offending. Have you ever seen a group of people like Americans right now, how offended they are? They're offended over everything. They're offended over the cross. They're offended over everything. What this is now. We are there in this now time. Hatred growing.
Anything about Christians and Christianity is offensive to this nation anymore.
The hatred.
Yes.
I mean, you have two stars that have put the president in a coffin or a morgue in picture. And you've got more than that going on.
The 10 Commandments is hate speech.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
So good is evil and evil is good.
Says next, this is the blow by blow. This is what Jesus said we will see before he comes. Many false prophets will rise up and deceive many.
I mean, the prophets in the Old Testament, God warned. He said, these people are lying. There's false prophets. They're lying. And what were the false prophets saying? Oh, nothing bad's going to happen. Isn't that right? Oh, God's not going to judge you. And that's what's being said today. The church has gone totally asleep because nothing bad is ever going to happen is being preached from the pulpits. And so none of the revelation can take place. And so that's why they had to invent a theology that would say, you know, you're not going to go through anything bad. You're just going to get out of here. And what's going to happen, and what God showed me when I was in the prison, he said they're going to shake their fists at their preachers and say, you lied. And why did you lie to us?
Jim, when all hell breaks loose, I said this earlier. When all hell breaks loose, people are going to get it. They're going to tune off the false message that's on TV and coming out of the church. They're going to find you and realize Jim Bakker has been telling the truth and we was ridiculing him. And your audience will double overnight. I really believe that. But anyway, going on, it says, lawlessness will abound. The love of many will grow cold. The church will fall asleep. The church will become lukewarm. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. The gospel of the kingdom will be preached around the world. I believe that has been fulfilled. It's the gospel has gone around the world many times, I believe.
I've had such a part that is humbling. And the team and people like Dale Hill, who started way back. He was 16 years old. He was behind the scenes, and we helped build CBN, TBN, PTL, and all of those. And there wasn't, when Pat Robertson started Channel 27 in Portsmouth, Virginia, there wasn't a Christian TV station. He built the first Christian TV station in America. Nobody knew what it was. They didn't know what to accept. They didn't know, and they, believe me, the other TV stations laughed at CBN in the beginning.
Wow.
They all came for jobs eventually because it was more successful than they were. And so this fulfillment of the gospel being preached, almost everybody on earth has one of these. I don't know how they afford them, but they may not have the Apple, but they have a phone.
Yeah.
And you can tune into our broadcast right now.
Every day, 24 hours a day.
Every day. And we have
7 days a week.
I'll never forget.
You need to go to what is it? What's
Roku.
the name? Roku.
Yes.
Roku is one of our main
Distribution
full carriers of
yeah.
24 hours a day. And all these are recorders too. My Lord, to record hours and hours. God only knows how many hours some of you have on your phone.
Yeah.
And I know how many pictures you have on your phone.
About 10,000. It's unbelievable.
She's not joking.
I know,
She
and
has
I keep
10,000
having
pictures.
them downloaded and put on discs, and I
The
still
only
have
trouble
more.
is we don't print all pictures anymore.
It's horrible.
Everything's
I just
digital.
need to take time and do it. But
We're all on
I was-
digital stuff.
I was thinking though quickly,
But
back
this
to
is
this.
is the fulfillment of the last
it
days,
really is.
totally.
And remember the time when
So click that one off.
Jim, when you and Marie, our daughter, the three of us, we were on the island of St. Kitts. We felt like we were in the middle of nowhere. I mean, in the middle of the ocean on this tiny little island. And Ricky was preaching here at Morningside. And we were so excited to watch. It was one of Ricky's first sermons, and we're away. So, yeah, a few years ago. Yes, honey, I know. And we each had our own phone sitting there on the beach. And we were all watching Ricky halfway. It seemed like we were halfway around the world watching him preach right here at Morningside. And it was so exciting because Jim's over there is sitting and watching on his. I'm here watching on mine. Marie's sitting next to me watching on hers. And it really, for lack of a better term, it blew Jim's mind. He couldn't get over the fact that here we are, so thousands of miles away from home, and we're out in the middle of the ocean somewhere, and there we are watching our son
live stream.
But see, this is what Daniel
preaching.
said.
It was so
Knowledge would be
exciting.
increased.
Yes, and it definitely has.
I mean, to record a Jim Bakker show in the early 1800s, about in the 1960s, to record our kids' shows or whatever we did, an hour tape was this big around. Can you see this?
Yeah.
This thick. They call them 2-inch tapes.
Wow.
They were so heavy, it cost a fortune just to ship them to the stations in which we did back
Now
then.
we call those the olden days.
But no.
That's what we call
but
it.
that wasn't so far back.
No, it really wasn't. But
That's less than 50 years ago when I started. And so what's happened? Knowledge has been increased. All of these signs are coming to pass. I believe we're the last generation. I believe this with all my heart. I believe the gospel is circling around the globe. And when this Bible was written, none of this could be true. But it's all taken place.
But God knew.
The gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations. Nations, just nations, it says, and then the end will come. So here we are at this time, and we're living in this time. If you'll just take Matthew 24 and go down and start checking off where we are, all the things, you're going to say, hey, maybe I ought to be ready. And we're going to need, what does he say, Lori, in Joel? What does he say in the book of Acts?
Yes.
That this gospel of the kingdom, he talks about there's going to be a pouring out
An outpouring.
of the gospel.
Yes.
There's going to be a Holy Spirit.
Yes. Sons and daughters, men and young men will dream dreams and visions and all that. I mean, you can go and read it for yourself.
But within the matter of a few verses there, it talks about restoration.
Yes, because that's what God's into.
So
He's
we're in the
into
last days.
Yes.
God's restored to me. I'm in the last days.
That's right.
God's restored. I have a family so big now. It takes a house so big just to house them all.
Right.
And restoring.
Yes.
I came out of prison with no house.
Right.
Came out of prison with no car.
Right.
Came out of prison with everything gone. All the ministry gone. God's restored the ministry. God's restored my family. I mean, I had 2 children when I went to prison. There's just a part of my family right there. That's our Christmas picture, I think. But there we are.
People.
But that's probably not even half of them, because the other cousins and and all a lot of our children that are in that picture, they all can't get together at one time. It's just really impossible anymore. But that is what God did. So God's going to restore in the last days. That's what he says.
That's what he's doing.
In the book of Joel. Isn't that what he said? He's going to restore what the cankerworms.
Right. That's exactly right.
And there are all kinds of cankerworms, old ones and young ones. And so, but he said, then I'm going to pour out my Spirit.
Yes.
I'm going to show signs and wonders.
Yes.
And then he said, the sun and the moon will be darkened.
Right. Before the great and awe-inspiring day of the Lord comes.
So before the Lord comes back, those things are going to happen.
So back to Matthew 24.
So John, I'm talking about, the gospel is being preached. I'm a part of it, and I don't mean it to brag. In fact, I don't feel worthy even. But Pat Robertson, Jim Baker, and I could name a few more. But there's people who were behind the scenes, that the engineers, the directors, the creators, and that was less than 50 years ago. I'm telling you, the whole world has been covered with the gospel.
Many times. I believe it's circled around the globe over and over.
And it said it will be preached in every nation, I think the word is here. So the reason we stay with Matthew 24 is this is his last message as far as to the disciples. It's what will be the sign of the end of the world, and you're coming back. And he says it. And it's other books of the Bible too, of course, Luke and 21 and other places. But this is the message, and Matthew 24 is very clear.
Yeah, and these are the things that if Jesus was telling the truth,
which he was,
these are the things that would have to happen before he comes. And listen to the next one. You will see. Who will see? The church. He's speaking of the church. You will see the abomination of desolation. You will see the Antichrist. Can it be any clearer?
That's right.
And it says, standing in the holy place, standing in the temple. In other words, the temple will be rebuilt because it's not built today.
Right.
They're poised. They've got the materials ready. The blocks are ready to stack, and all of the bowl,
tinsels,
the altars,
utensils,
and the candelabras or whatever.
Right.
They're all ready to go.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
Yeah, and when that
in
word
person,
when that word is signed, I believe that peace treaty is going to allow the temple to be rebuilt. And when it is rebuilt and the sacrifice is reinstituted, the day is going to come when the Antichrist is going to show up. And he's going to declare himself to be God, and he's going to desecrate the temple. And this is part of Jesus' answer. We will see this before he comes. But when that day happens, we will have been going through perilous times. We will be seeing war on the saints. The church will go underground and will thrive when it goes underground. Just like when the church went underground in China, it grew to over 100 million Christians today in China because of persecution that would make people give their lives if necessary to serve God. And that's why we have to see tribulation, because the tribulation will wake up the church. Well, there's more in Matthew 24 going on, and I didn't list every blow by blow. And then, of course, in Mark and Luke, there are also more blow by blows, but I just picked out one of them. One of the paragraphs in Luke of what Jesus said we would see before he comes. Listen to this. And this is Luke 21, 25 through 28. And there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars. Guess what? That just happened.
Sure did.
And it happened with the blood moons. And it happened with the solar eclipses. and on the earth distress of nations. We're going to see a whole lot of distress when the big earthquakes come.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
With perplexity, the seas and the waves roaring, tidal waves.
Yes.
Men's hearts failing them for fear, with the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth. The powers of the heavens will be shaken. When these things begin to happen, I believe these things have begun.
Yes.
Look up, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Amen.
You know, this part of my study is the blow by blow from Matthew 24, or the Matthew, Mark, and Luke trilogy. But Revelations 12, the beginning of labor and birth pains, through 12, 13, into 14, there's another blow by blow that's filling in further blanks. And if we have time, I would really like to hit these points.
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Starts off, there will be a great sign appear in heaven. War broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon. That Satan was angry because he knew his time was short. Like I said, if this hasn't already happened, it's about to happen. And we will see hell break out all over this planet. And I see it happening now. I believe that the opening of the seals is the wrath of Satan. Remember how I shared that in the seals, there's no angels. That's not God's judgment. The martyrdom of the saints, that's not the wrath of God. That's the wrath of Satan. And Satan, it wants to destroy the church and wants to stop the fulfillment of God's word, but it's not going to work. There's a verse in Revelations 12, 10 and 11 that I saw it in these last 2 weeks when I did this study. I saw it in a different light, and it was very exciting. It says, now salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ have come. I used to think that, could this be talking about the day of the Lord and the rapture? But when I put it with the next verse, I recognize that salvation and strength, the kingdom of our God and the power of Christ have come. I believe this is describing the great revival that will happen when the church is under great tribulation, and the church wakes up and literally starts walking in the power and strength of the Spirit of God and the power of God. Listen to the next verse. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives to the death. The church becomes the living sacrifice that God's word said is our reasonable service. And in the power of the Holy Ghost, we are doing exploits that the Bible says we will do exploits in the last days. And this here has not happened yet, but we are going to walk in this before Jesus comes back. It talks about the dragon was enraged with the woman because what happens is there's a 3.5 year peace where the Antichrist and Satan is not able to attack Israel. And at the end of that 7-year period, we know that the 7-year peace is broken. The reason I believe it's broken is answered right here. The woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle that she might fly into the wilderness to her place where she is nourished for times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. Israel is safe from the serpent for 3.5 years. So what happens? It says, and the dragon was enraged because he couldn't touch Israel. And then it says, he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, those who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. During the 3.5 years that the Satan can't touch Israel. He's waging war against the saints. At the end of the 3.5 years, what Daniel says, that our Heavenly Father determined in favor of the saints, and we were delivered, the rapture, when the church, those who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus, when we are taken off the earth, that is when the peace treaty with Israel is broken. Satan can no longer go after the Gentiles. It's time for him to break his truce and go after Israel, the Jews that didn't know Jesus as their Savior. They will have to go through that last 3.5 years. So continuing on, and I saw a great beast rising out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, 10 crowns. We are going to see, this is one of the blow-by-blows before the rapture. We will see a beast government. The system of the Antichrist will rise to power. The next verse, I saw one of his heads as it had been mortally wounded, and the deadly wound was healed. You know, when it says one of the heads of the beast government's going to be 10 regions with 10 regional leaders, 10 heads of state. And when it says one of the heads is fatally wounded, I believe one of the 10 regional leaders will be fatally wounded, come back from the dead, and become the Antichrist. This is one of the blow-by-blows. We will see this day where the Antichrist will look at him and say, wow, this man was dead, and now he's come back to life. As the church, we will recognize this is the man of sin. And then it says, it was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. And it talks about the Antichrist is given authority to make war on the saints for 42 months. Deliverance from this war will be the rapture. I saw another beast coming out of the earth. And it's like, I believe it's the false prophet, that second beast. He will exercise all the authority of the first beast. He causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast. I put down here, what is interesting about this verse is there will be some supernatural image of the beast that will have power as if it was alive. Could this be a robotic, artificial, intelligent creature that is possibly mass-produced so that it can enforce the rules of the Antichrist all over the world? And if you don't bow before this image, it says you will die. I mean, this is some incredible stuff. And this is part of the blow-by-blow that will happen before the rapture. This next one.
Can I just ask you one question here? The 10 horns, the 10 really leaders that show up here that you just passed, just talked about. Could they be alive on earth? Could they be rulers now?
Absolutely.
Around because there's so many Antichrist rulers, I mean, I can't say everything on the air that I know. I wish I could. But the leaders all over the world have turned any nation at a hint of godliness. They're simply not Christ followers. And I believe that I know who one of the 10 is. Mm-hmm. I really believe this. I believe this with all my heart, but I could never say it on the air because I'll be stoned. But that's biblical anyway, But so what do you, I think I've been saying this lately this month, it's later than we think it is. I think we're down the road further.
If it is possible that we are entering into the days of sorrows or the birth pains, that literally could within a 12-month period lead us into the beginning of the Great Tribulation, that would mean that in the next 12 months we literally could see the collapse of nations around the world. And when the system of the Antichrist is offered, the 10 regional leaders are alive right now, ready to take their seats of leadership.
So I'm asking people, be ready. Be ready. We have the 19 years of canned foods. They're not canned food. It's freeze-dried, but it's in cans, sealed.
Right.
And these are huge cans, but it's 19 years of food.
Right.
For a gift of just $3,000. We call it the super grocery store because it has everything from chopped onions to chopped celery to salt, pepper. I mean, whatever. I mean, it has the seasonings in it. It has the stuff to prepare foods and to be able to make up. It's just like what you'd go to the store to get. You got eggs, so you have they're dried eggs. You just add water and they become eggs again.
Exactly. Everything you have in here is going to be staples that you need to live. And it's 53 different items, but that doesn't mean it's 53 foods that you can make. You can make hundreds and hundreds of different things with this, but it also comes with a recipe book. So it makes it effortless for you. Whenever things get hard, our brains sometimes go out of commission, but this makes it effortless for you, so you're able to be practical whenever hard times hit.
We just got a delivery of that one right there, that bundle, to our house. And we have years of food, of good food, food that you just add water and it makes great stuff.
Yeah, we have all the buckets.
And macaroni and cheese, even all the stuff.
Yes.
But having this now, we would be able to live fairly normal because we have what's in a superstore, the ingredients.
Yeah, making these food items will bring a sense of normality back to your life. That's one of the main things that we do throughout our day. We eat, and it's a staple of family. When families get together, they typically eat. So it'll bring that sense of normality back a little bit.
So do something, and you could get maybe your family started by getting the Christmas variety buckets. And this is a very, very reasonable price. For $100, this beautiful bucket, and it's got a Christmas bow on the box here. I have a box right here. This is what box comes in, and it has a bow on the top there, so you can just put your to and from on it and just put it under the tree. But it comes in a bucket. It has the instructions. It has a book. I think, does the book come with this one too?
No, the book doesn't come with that one because those are already pre-made meals. All you have to do is add water to those.
The directions for each is on one of the packets that goes in there. And so we call it your food insurance, and it just tells people what it's about.
Mm-hmm. And it also comes with this shovel right here. It's a foldable, collapsible shovel, and it comes in a little pouch like this. It can fit in the backpack, in the glove compartment of a vehicle. It's really compact and really convenient.
Yeah.
It has a serrated edge. It can be a blade to cut down branches and things like that.
What do you save on this one? Because it's special for Christmas.
Yeah, actually, it's a value of $186, and it's only $100 for all these different items. So you're going to be saving $86. I mean, this shovel alone is worth $25. If you go to a camping store, you're going to pay $25 for something like this.
At least.
When I look at that grocery store, that super grocery store,
yes,
I don't know how they're doing it. The food company, 14 cents for each serving.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to the store for 14 cents and buy anything, I don't think.
Absolutely not.
We have what we call a complete grocery store for those who want a less expensive one. That's $1,500. Mm-hmm. But so you have how many servings, Ricky? Do you know that?
Yeah, it's actually going to be 5,942 servings inside of this complete grocery store offer.
So how many years is that?
That comes about 5 years and, a few months of food after that.
So 5 years, around 4 months, I think, something
roughly,
like that.
Yes, sir.
And that's there on the screen, and you can get that for $1,500.
Now, this is a really great offer. The super grocery store offer is going to be better because it's 14 cents a serving. This is going to be 25 cents a serving.
But still it's cheaper than anything.
I challenge you to find anything less expensive than that. You're not going to anywhere.
And so it has, actually, with the $1,500 offer, we've included a wheat grinder with that one.
Because you get lots of number 10 cans of wheats. Yes, sir.
And so that's got a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So that's called the complete grocery store.
Yes.
That's for your little store near your house. And so we have for you.
It's now, staying alive is $400 for a year.
So
that's 5 buckets.
So for 1 year of food you get for $400 of the Staying Alive.
Yes, sir.
And that's 5 buckets.
Yes.
And then we have the Staying Alive year for 2 people is $750.
Yeah, we've discounted that, and you still get 10 buckets.
And then the Staying Alive Time of Trouble.
Yeah, that's 32 buckets.
And that's just for a donation of $2,200.
And that's, how many years does that come up to? Is it exactly 7 years, do you know?
Yes.
Exactly 7 years.
7 years of food.
Because usually it's always something left over.
This one, we just made it right at 7. And those are our more simple recipes, about 7 recipes. Just add water. They're the nice Alfredos and the soups and things like that that really get prepared quickly.
But if people will go to our website, you can shop for your budget and you can pick up all the different foods you want, the water bottles you need to make sure you have the super water bottle.
That's the extreme bottle,
The
Pastor.
extreme bottles, yes.
And you know, they talked about it in Puerto Rico that there was no water to drink. Well, the dams were overflowing. They just didn't have water purification. And this is what our bottles do. So ask for the Extreme Warfare Survival Bottle.
The deluxe bucket, and you can get that for $175.
So with that, you get one of the 374 serving deluxe buckets, and then you get one of the Staying Alive buckets, which we donate and ship to an area in need.
Well, 1 year of the Tasty Pantry Deluxe, this is our best.
It is.
That's going to be $650 just for that 1 year of food. And like you said, it's going to be 22 varieties of food, and that's over 16 months of food right there.
Includes pizza, by the way.
It does include pizza. This is our premier food.
This is our complete sampler. I mean, you want to try the different foods, this is the one you want to get.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the deluxe food.
And you get 4 of those. And Pastor, each bucket is 4 months. So essentially, we are sending you 4 buckets right there. So you only need 3 to make a year. So you are getting 1 bucket as a bonus.
And the year for 2 of that deluxe food is only $1,200, right?
That's right. Yeah, we've discounted that, and here you get 8 buckets. So 6 make 2 years. You get 2 bonus buckets.
And we actually have a time of trouble in the Tasty Pantry Deluxe offer, and that's going to be for a gift of $3,700. And that's going to come with 22 varieties of food, but it's going to come with 9 years and 7 months of food. So obviously the time of trouble is 7 years, but we're going to be giving a bonus of 2 years and 7 months with that offer. So what's going to come in this Tasty Pantry bucket? It's going to be the maple brown sugar oatmeal, the buttermilk pancakes, honey wheat bread, the black bean burger, pizza crust, pizza cheese topping, pizza sauce, creamy stroganoff, fettuccine alfredo, Italiano marinara, elbow macaroni, cheese powder, creamy chicken rice, Spanish rice, cheesy broccoli rice, white rice, instant potatoes, hearty vegetable chicken, creamy potato soup, chocolate pudding, morning mousse, low-fat milk, and honey powder. And that's all going to come in that Tasty Deluxe bucket.
And Pastor, that's nearly a $11,000 value. So you're saving, Ricky, what is that?
Yeah, it's actually going to be saving $7,276. We also still have a monthly offer when it comes to our Tasty Pantry Deluxe buckets, and that's going to be for $165 a month. You're going to get a bucket every single month, and that helps if we, like I love what you say, we have good intentions, but we forget sometimes to have monthly things. And so it's good that it's just already going to be shipped to your house, no questions asked, and it'll just get right to your front door, and you'll be able to just store it wherever you need it.
And that's with a 12-month commitment. So you make that 12-month commitment, and you'll receive every month for $165, you'll receive some food automatically coming to you. And it seems like the days are going by so quickly that all of a sudden it's November when it was just August yesterday.
Yeah, if you do it every month,
if you do it
get
once
a bucket a month, at the end of the year, how much do you have?
It actually comes out to